This is Claire Terry reporting live from CNN on this rainy Monday afternoon. Today we'll be discussing the topic of terrorism with FBI agent and head of the Manchester bombing investigation, Nicole Willis. Please give her a warm welcome.
Thank you, Claire, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Anytime. So let's get started. Can you give us some background information on the Manchester bombing?
Sure. So on May 22nd, 2010, my team and I responded to a terror attack outside the Ariana Grande concert, where unfortunately 22 civilians died and 59 were injured. From that moment when I arrived on the scene, it was my team and I's job to further investigate who was responsible for this attack, and also to determine if there were any attacks that were going to happen in the near future. Within hours of the attack, my team and I discovered and successfully identified that the suicide bomber was 22 years old and his name was Salman Abedi. From this information and from all the other attacks, I just want to express my opinion how it's very, very, very important to listen in on the news and educate yourselves about these attacks to protect yourselves and have an overall safer nation.
It is devastating to hear about these attacks on innocent civilians. It is obviously very important for people to be able to understand what is happening in this world. Can you tell us about other terrorist attacks that you have worked on?
Sure. So a little after the Manchester bombing, there on June 2nd, 2015, three men with a hired van ran into 5 or 6 pedestrians on the London Bridge. After hitting these people, the 3 men got out of their car and started to stab people with knives. When they were attacking people, a witness told BBC that they were screaming, "This is for Allah." After they started stabbing people, they ran to the Borough Market, where the 3 men stabbed people in the market. Police arrived and killed the 3 men. We discovered the 3 men. Their names were Karima Butt, who was born in Pakistan, and Rachi Raduhu, who was 30 years old and was formerly living in Moroccan Libya, but lived in East London. And ISIS claimed responsibility ultimately for this attack, where at least 7 people were killed.
It breaks my heart to hear this horrible news continuously. Now, London is not the only place being affected by terrorism. Are there any other places you have traveled to deal with terrorism in Europe?
Well, of course. Just in the past 3 to 4 months, I was in Paris working on the Paris attacks. On April 20th, 2017, I took a plane out to Paris to help their attack on the police bus at the Champs-Elysees. It caused a whole bunch of problems, like caused presidential candidates to cancel their campaigns, events, to discuss security and to see for their nations. Now, this attack led to 1 police officer being died at gunpoint after he leaped out of a car and these attackers shot them at the Champs-Elysees. And again, the name we discovered very quickly that the name of the person who shot, his name was Karim Sharif, a 39-year-old man who served 15 years in prison for 3 attempted murders. And ISIS did take responsibility for this as well, so you can see the common theme. And then also just recently, I was in Brussels. That was last year. But in Brussels, it was on March 22nd, 2016. So it was about a year and 3 months ago. And this was a huge terror attack. 32 people were killed, and more than 300 were injured. And this was when the 2 suicide bombs went off in the Brussels airport, and another at the metro station in Brussels, which scared many civilians there.
Devastating.
Yeah.
And There was a Paris attack a few years ago that left 130 dead. Were you involved with that at all?
Yes, the November 13th.
Yes.
Yes, I was. So, again, ISIS claimed responsibility for that, and there were explosions inside a sports stadium in France, and then outside a stadium, then a third explosion 400 meters away. And there were people at gunpoint outside restaurants, and the 3 attackers killed 89 people, and it was just devastating again. And then to have all these other ones occurring is just so frightening for people. And after only 89 were killed at the concert hall, which resulted in 130 people in this Paris attack alone. So it was very frightening.
Now, these are just devastating attacks that everyone should be aware of in order to find a way to stop this and protect these innocent people.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know about. For example, the Stockholm attack, which happened on April 7th, just killed 4 people and 15 injured, and a man drove into a busy street of people and just killed them. And he was Rakhama Akilov from Uzbekistan, and he was a member of ISIS. So it really just shows how these new attackers of dropping into people really have been the new way to go, but it makes it easier for us to identify who was being. So I would just suggest a safer, listen to the news, protect yourselves. When you're walking, be aware of things, and don't be scared of the world, because you have the world in your hands.
Okay, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. Bye, guys.